When it comes to a gamer's personal experience, there's always going to be those games where you're a really big fan of something big, like Metal Gear, Sonic, etc. But then there are those games that you're a really big fan of and nobody else seems to know or care about. Destroy All Humans is one of those games. Released in 2005 by the now defunct Australian-based Pandemic Studios, Destroy All Humans was a game which allowed you to play as A. Lamel Cryptosporidium-137, who arrives on Earth in the 1950s in order to kill, probe, and use the Force to terrorize the human populace and enslave it for the A. Lamel Empire. So we have a third-person shooter from the mid-2000s which allows you to play as an alien who wants to enslave the Earth. What better premise could you ask for? So jumping right into the story, a Plan 9 from Outer Space homage talks about the wonders of space and how one day humanity will touch the stars with our A. Lamel brethren and sing Kumbaya in united harmony. What this is basically here to establish is that the game takes place on 1950s Earth, which if you really want to appreciate this game's writing and inner workings, you should probably have a little bit of 50s pop cultural trivia behind your back before playing this. After a Plan 9 homage, we then cut to Area 42 where nuclear testing is going down, and before General Armquist spots a UFO hovering above the missile, it's already too late.
No! Wait! Stop the countdown!
When going to investigate the crashed saucer, the soldiers discover the surviving A. Lamel named Cryptosporidium-136 crawl out from beneath the wreckage only to collapse upon being captured by the humans. Maybe I'm just uninformed here, but I'm pretty sure if the US military found an alien creature on site, I'm certain that they'd probably kill it the moment it crawled out. We then cut over to the A. Lamel superior named Orthopox, who expounds to Cryptosporidium-137, a clone of 136, that their race called the Furons are facing a crisis in which their DNA is slowly degrading with each new clone they create. As such, Pox sent out Crypto-136 to seek out a planet that contains pure and untainted Furon DNA, which has a strong possibility of saving their race from a slow extinction. Spoiler alert, the planet they're looking for happens to be Earth, and seeing as Crypto-136 was injured and captured by the humans, his clone Crypto-137 isn't exactly too happy about this.
A Cryptosporidium captured by a bunch of monkeys? We gotta go in. We gotta crack some craniums. We gotta rescue me. Him. He's gotta rescue me. I gotta... Brains, man. When do I get to blow things up?
Crypto's the kind of protagonist that I like to put in anti-hero territory. He's got some homicidal tendencies to be sure, but the dude's got some very dry-witted humor and sardonic charm that no matter what mission he's assigned, he'll always have some kind of snarky retort to keep the player entertained during cutscenes.
Now, Crypto, to ensure this invasion runs smoothly, it is imperative we identify the dominant life forms on this world. Those lactating bovoids are likely candidates.
Surely you don't mean those foul-smelling gas bags beyond the fence?
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
But they're covered in nipples.
Now, Cryptosporidium!
Upon his initial arrival in 1950s America, Pox sends out Crypto to gather information on the humans and ascertain certain ways of controlling them to make the process of harvesting brain stems easier. They obtain this information by talking to cows.
They eat with their mouths. I think I'm going to be violently ill.
Probing. Miss Rockwell.
Uh-oh! Uh-oh! What's happening? Oh, God! Please! No! Oh, it tickles!
It's probing time.
Oh, yeah, right there. That's the spot. Oh, that is delicious.
So vocal, so responsive. This is gonna be good.
And winning over the crowd by impersonating a politician.
The mayor's right. This was all just a random series of suspiciously coincidental yet easily rationalized events.
Yeah, that's right. Give it up. Let's hear it from me.
Suckers.
And while Crypto and Pox have been busy gathering information, it seems that they aren't the only ones on the prowl, as the humans haven't been idle since the arrival of Crypto-136. As a result of Crypto-136's crash landing on Earth, Pox and Crypto are put under watch by the Men in Black known as Majestic, who report the Ailamal's presence to their leader known as Silhouette. If you can guess what the name's alluding to, then keep it under your hat, because you can actually spoil that surprise if you use the Cortex scan on a Majestic agent. Ever the intuitive ones, Crypto and Pox decide to interrogate one of these Majestic agents who, after placing him in what looks like a giant hairdryer, he gives up the location of Crypto-Spiridium-136 by placing him in Area 42. Upon breaking into the military base, Crypto-137 arrives too late to find that his clone 136 is already dead. Naturally destroyed at the loss of Crypto-136, he destroys the base and swears to destroy all humans. And as such, it becomes clear to Crypto and Pox that though through all their schemes of manipulating humanity and submitting it to the will of the Furon Empire, it seems that the military and Majestic agents aren't quite as squeaky clean as they appear to be, dabbling in their own conspiracies. To put it bluntly, let's just say that the humans have access to technology that's a little ahead of its time. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure we didn't have giant robots, psychokinetic mutants, and flying saucers in the 1950s, so I think it's pretty obvious here that something is amiss. Setting his sights upon the military head honcho General Armquist, Crypto decides that a direct approach is the best approach, so naturally, he attempts to kill him by launching a nuclear bomb in Area 42. Surprisingly not killing him, General Armquist convenes with the mysterious Silhouette, who begins to doubt Armquist's abilities as a leader. As a result, he decides to take matters into Majestic's own hands by staging an ambush in Uniontown which downs Crypto's saucer, which results in his capture. Even despite Crypto's escape, Silhouette uses this as a way of coercing the President into uniting the military, Navy, Marines, and Air Force all under Majestic control so that they can widen their authority in taking Crypto down. Armquist, though equally opposed against Crypto and Pox, is still none too pleased about having to relinquish command of his branch over to a character who is as shady as Silhouette. And for those of you wondering, this is a plot point that doesn't really go anywhere.
That's bad, right?
I mean, from what I can tell, it looks as if they were intending to go into the direction where Silhouette was trying to get Crypto to indirectly sabotage Armquist in an attempt to prove how incompetent the military was in dealing with the Furon threat. And hell, they even joke about how Crypto and Armquist could have teamed up at the end of the boss fight, but honestly, this entire plot point just feels implied at best. I don't know, I mean, maybe we could have gotten a few more cutscenes out of this, like with Armquist constantly getting screwed over by Silhouette, and then Silhouette in return claiming about how the military would have been totally fucked if Majestic didn't step in to rescue them from Crypto's assault. Anyway, as a result of this, Armquist attempts to gain the support of the other defense branches by having a meeting at Uniontown, which Crypto sabotages, revealing himself to Armquist, who then punches him out and then commandeers a giant robot to engage in a boss fight with him. With Armquist out of the way, Crypto then sets his sights on the President in Washington DC, where he assassinates the President. And if you use the Cortex scan on him beforehand, you can actually see that he was responsible for the torture of Crypto-136, so yeah, the bastard deserves to die. With the President out of commission, Silhouette then steps out of the shadows as it were and offers to surrender the human race to its Ailamal emperors. The two meet up and verbally spar for a little bit before Crypto comes to the shocking revelation that Silhouette's a chick, who alongside the annihilation of Crypto and Orthopox, also desires to take over the world in the name of feminism. Social commentary that is still relevant to this day. Again, a lot of Silhouette's true motives are relegated to the Cortex scan, but it's something that I feel really could have been better handled if only to make the stakes a little bit more impactful for what's supposed to be the final encounter. Then again, just before you fight Silhouette, there's always the fact that the penultimate boss before it is a giant robot with the President's brain inside that she calls
The Robo-Prez!
Yeah, where Silhouette was hiding a giant robot from the people of this city, I have no idea. After defeating Silhouette and her Robo-Prez, she warns Crypto that Majestic cannot be defeated and that there are several Majestic subsects all over the world. A plot element that was only ever vaguely brought back for Destroy All Humans 2 and then it was never mentioned again. With nothing more in Crypto's path, the Furon warrior becomes the President of the United States of America, and begins to harvest the human populace's brain stems for the Furon Empire. The story overall is a decent one with a lot of snark-laden humour in the dialogue as well as a decently put together conspiracy plot with the Majestic agents. That being said, however, there are a few plot points that I feel could have been expanded upon if only as the means of giving the story a bit more substance, but considering the story that we've got here, it's quite satisfying and does the job well in driving the player to destroy all humans. Speaking of which, let's jump into the gameplay and destroy said humans. Crypto as a character is a very versatile Ailamal, packing not only firearms, but also psychokinetic powers. By pressing the L1 button, Crypto can utilize 4 abilities of his psychokinesis. The Cortex scan, which is used to scan minds of any living creature, which also can lead to some pretty funny dialogue if you're well versed in 50s pop culture. The Extraction Pal, which allows Crypto to overload a human's brainstem and make their head explode as if he was a character out of Mortal Kombat. The Hypnosis Pal, which allows Crypto to manipulate the humans to do his bidding, though it's mostly relegated to just making them fall asleep and act like an idiot as a means of distraction. And of course the Telekinesis Power, which allows Crypto to move objects by the power of his mind. And I've gotta say, Destroy All Humans has some of the best PK controls I've ever experienced in a video game, because given the amount of things that you can do with this power and how malleable everything is, the uses are just as essential as your weapons in many cases. Speaking of which, the weapons in this game kick some serious ass. From the shocking Zap-O-Matic to the destructive force of the Iron Detonator, Crypto does brandish a very basic set of weaponry like the machine gun type weapon of the Disintegrator Ray, alongside the grenade launcher type weapon being the Iron Detonator. But that's not to say that Crypto was just stuck with stock weaponry, as this game does have a few creative weapons such as the aforementioned Zap-O-Matic, and of course the lovely Anal Probe. Not even kidding, as a method of getting Furon DNA out of human brain stems, you can actually charge up the Anal Probe and fire it right up their ass with some rather explosive results. But weapons and psychokinesis aren't the only things Crypto has at his disposal, as he's also armed with a hollow bulb which allows Crypto to disguise himself as a human at the cost of his PK meter, which can easily be refilled by Cortex scanning people. Though, word of warning, do not go near any majestic agents as they can penetrate right through your transparent disguise, quite literally I might add, and take you out of the holobob, essentially fucking up your day. And lastly, Crypto also has a jetpack which allows him to fly for a limited time, though through rapid fire presses of the X button, it can allow Crypto to fly for a little bit longer in the air, similar to E123 Omega from Sonic 06. But if you thought Crypto was a walking arsenal of destruction on foot, then clasp your hands evilly, because not only does Crypto have weapons and psychokinetic powers at his disposal, but he also has a fucking spaceship too. With the Saucer, Crypto can cause destruction and violence on a whole new level with the ability to decimate buildings, tanks, mortars, giant robots. No matter what the humans throw at the Furon bastard, the Saucer will most likely make quick work of them. Like with Crypto on foot, the Saucer too has its own arsenal of weapons, which are the Death Ray, the Sonic Boom, and the Quantum Deconstructor. The Death Ray functions in a similar manner to the Zap-O-Matic, where by pressing and holding R1, you can fire out an orange beam of death upon your enemies and disintegrate them into smouldering ashes. A method of death that quite easily satisfies me in a game such as this. The works as more of a projectile-based weapon, so it can usually take things down in less than 2 or 3 shots, so I'd say it's worth it if you can't be bothered waiting for the death ray to drain enemies' health away. But as always, saving the best for last is of course the best weapon in the game, the Quantum Deconstructor. A weapon that when fired unleashes a green ball of energy of destruction which, as the name implies that it deconstructs, quantums, or something. But simply, it's a big gun that kills things, so I like it. Okay, so we've got a big arsenal, we've got a spaceship, we have psychokinetic powers, cool. But that begs the question, what would the player be doing in a game titled Destroy All Humans? In terms of mission structure, Destroy All Humans is objective-based, meaning that whatever area of the hub you're in will usually have either a storyline mission or a side mission in the level pertaining to whatever's required in either the events of the main story, or the side missions programmed in when you finish with the main story. The storyline missions, usually being the most important, often begin with an intro from Pox detailing what Crypto needs to do, ranging from gathering intel on the humans, to sneaking into their installations using the holobob. To put it bluntly, each mission is usually different from the last, with objectives of each mission changing to reflect what's going on in the plot, which I put in the game's favour to avoiding repetition. The side missions, however, are usually just little challenges that you can do for some extra Furon DNA for upgrades to your weapons, abilities, and sorts, like destroy buildings in the area, kill X amount of humans within the time limit, and of course race to each checkpoint before the time runs out. Overall, with a wicked arsenal, psychokinetic powers, and a nice variation of missions, the gameplay gets my seal of approval, and I'm hard-pressed to think of things I actually dislike aside from the majestic agents terminating my holobob by accident. Them are fucks on my mission!
Pathetic humans.
Over to the technical aspects of Destroy All Humans, it is a really good looking PS2 game, graphically speaking. The game has a nice use of colour and lighting, which makes a lot of the environments stand out, as well as getting some really nice looking backgrounds like sunsets to further complement the game's aesthetics. Human characters, on the other hand, they look fairly suck-standard for the PS2 game, but otherwise look very decent within the game's art style. As for the Furons like Crypto and Orthopox, they look very nicely detailed, and overall nothing is really displeasing to the eye.
Am not green.
One big point of praise that I'll have to give this game, as I mentioned earlier, is the writing of the game, particularly with Cryptosporidium and Orthopox, as it delivers a very dry sense of humour laden with a lot of deadpan delivery, and that's thanks to a great vocal performance by Crypto's voice actor J. Grant Albrecht and Pox's Richard Horvitz.
Thank you.
But that's not even mutually exclusive to just the Furons, as there are quite a few scenes with the Majestic agents acting as if they just came out of a 50s cop show.
Did you see what I saw?
You bet your sweet ass I did. What did you see?
Little green man in a flying saucer wiping out the best infantry unit in the U.S. Army.
Right, good. Me too. Green? Not gray?
Don't be a stiff. You know what it means?
Absolutely. What?
It means the paper's got it right for once. Get on the horn to Silhouette. We've got the worst case scenario.
The eggheads were actually onto something? I don't believe it.
Believe it. Roswell was only the beginning. The invasion is on.
The writing of the game also extends to the cortex scans of the various humans you can find, which adds a little bit of flavor text that should get a chuckle out of you if you're well versed in 1950s pop culture. As for the soundtrack, the game is mostly comprised of, well, generic alien-y music. Not that the soundtrack is necessarily bad by any means, it gets the job done, but in my personal opinion, a lot of the level tracks don't really stick in my mind. Though, in addition to the alien-esque music, we also get a few 50s sounding tunes, which are pretty decent sounding in their own right. So with all that out of the way, what's my final thoughts on Destroy All Humans? Destroy All Humans as a game is something that I hold in high regard as a good example of a middle-tier company like THQ and Pandemic Studios producing a game that can hold its own against major titles from the likes of Sony and Microsoft. In terms of recommendations, if you're a big fan of snarky, dry humour, third-person shooters, and a satire of the 1950s, then Destroy All Humans is a game that you're going to enjoy a hell of a lot. Well, on that note, I am Skully, keep it new metal, and hey, maybe it was aliens that caused all those glitches in the Matrix in the last review. Whatever. Take care. A basic weapon set of machine gun-esque weaponry like the disintegrator ray, alongside the grenade launcher type weapon that's... Ay! Caramba, los dioses mioso. That being said though, there were a few pop points. You know, because you like to smoke the kush, weed, cocaine every day. After defeating Silhouette and her Robo-Prez, she warns Crypto that Majestic cannot be defeated and that there are majestic subjects. Hello class, welcome to school. Today we are going to teach our majestic subject, which is about the art of ballet. Yes, a very majestic dance which also kills aliens because they're evil and scary and threaten our ballet and our American way. Again, a lot of Silhouette's true motives are relegated to the Cortex scan, but it's something that I feel probably could have been handled a little bit better only to make this... Okay, try it again, this time with a little bit of oomph. He struck me. Like, hold on, let me practice my stabbing. God damn, I have fun with this. With the President out of commission, Silhouette then steps out of the shadows as it were and offers to surrender the human race to her A-limit. Fuck, I completely spoiled it. Oh wait, no one's even supposed to know that Silhouette's a chick. Scratch that thought. I sound like the old Homer Simpson.
Logitech! Mr. President, because of the time we killed you in Area 41, I had to find a way to save you, which I did, through the use use of nanotechnology. Introducing nanomachines, now for $9.95 a pop. Yes, that's right, $9.95 a pop. Soon you'll be able to have your very own nanomachines, a codec, and even a Pepsi bottle for some reason. You know what, just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna do this voice again. Now you scum are going to die. I'm gonna fire my laser cannons at you. Oh! Now then, charging up laser cannon charged, fire! You know, I could probably do a bit of voice acting with this. Oh, the possibilities are endless. I wonder if I could pull off some emotional inflections with this. Probably not. In fact, I don't even know where I'm going with this voice anymore. It's taking on a persona of its own. I need help!
This is basically here to establish that the game. Okay.
You know, this isn't much fun for me. But I don't suppose you ever stopped to consider that, did you? Oh no! You just wandered away from the TV to do whatever it is you're doing, leaving me here talking to myself like some kind of pathetic loser while you eat your chips and dip.